let's go through our top 10 quarterbacks here, guys, for this upcoming draft. So, at this point here, we've gone through all the big names in the quarterbacks, and we kind of, did this a little early even and went ahead and did some of the scouting even early on these guys here. And we'll probably dive into some more of these guys probably at some point here, but as it gets closer to draft time. But we thought it'd be kind of fun to go give a top 10. Now, Rob, do you think we should start at 10? Or should we start
Ooh.
at 1?
You know what? I think we should start at 1 and count down to the bottom because,
Let's
I
go
think
for it then.
because I think everyone knows kind of where we stand in the top
Yes.
3-ish, but I think it
Yes.
gets a little spicy as it goes down.
Yes. So, number 1, Chad Powers, Penn State.
Think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast. Think fast, be fast.
Yeah, phony. No, number 1's obviously Cam Ward out of Miami. Let's be honest, he's going to be probably the first overall pick. The Giants don't have a shot in hell of getting him. Thank you, Drew Lock and the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. Don't need to say too much on him. He's the best prospect in quarterback to me. He is the highest ceiling. There's a little more risk because he's a little more of a risk taker himself, and that comes into play there. But he's got the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks here on this draft by far.
Yes. And he's gone out and proved himself this year quite a few times.
Yep. Literally set NCAA records.
Yeah.
That's always good. Number 2.
Oh, you got Mr. Shedeur Sanders himself.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. I had to say it that way. So I'm trying to talk Giants fans up in case we draft him.
It's probably a good shot we drafted.
I said it wouldn't shock me at all. And I'm not buying the bullshit hype that he's not that good and he's dropping down boards left and right. I feel like that's being leaked by people that want to draft him later on.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Raiders.
Thibodeau, all over again.
It's Raiders. I'm telling you, it's the Raiders. I think the Raiders are bashing him, hoping he drops a 6.
I mean, you get that all the time. I mean, granted, I shouldn't say we bashed him, but we've said from pretty much end of the season that we thought of NFL season that we thought Cam Ward was the dude. We thought he's the guy that's going to go number 1. Shedeur, had you know what you get out of Shedeur.
Shedeur is what Shedeur is.
I don't think he's going to elevate much. He's got probably the highest floor of any of these quarterbacks coming out. So you're guaranteed to know what you have without failing. So if you're okay with the way he played in Colorado, if you will,
in Colorado,
you should you'll be happy with what you get, but don't expect him to turn into the next Patrick Mahomes.
I feel like he's going to be a starter of this league. He's just 100%. Not going to be a high-end starter.
He's going to be probably your average starter. He's going to be we're not going to be probably
like Jalen Hurts.
Ooh,
I had to take a shot. I had to take a shot at the Eagles fans. No, his play style is not like that at all. That's not even a fair comparison. I just had to take a jab at Eagles fans.
Yeah.
But he's that guy that's he's a starter. You know what? I'm going to use it this way. Alex Smith. He's a starter, but he may not get you the championship. That's what I feel like it's going to be.
That's probably a really good comparison. Not same gameplay, but he's
they had to bring in Patrick Mahomes to get to championship level. Which, I mean, granted, he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game already. So
actually, maybe that's not.
No, but they brought in another quarterback because they felt like they could max out what they could do with Alex Smith. They weren't going to win a championship with him. They thought. I have the same vibe with Sanders. I don't think he's that guy, but I think he's a legit starter of this league.
I also feel like Alex Smith side rant that he always got the short end of his stick or whatever team he went to. Let's talk about him on Denver. Dude was putting up 45 points a game. Didn't he? Was the Alex Smith? Wasn't he?
San Francisco, and then Kansas City, and Washington. I want to say.
Wasn't he the one that was replaced by Mr. Jesus himself?
Tim Tebow? No.
Who's there?
I don't know. I have to look it up for you, to be honest with you. Was it Kyle Orton? Is that what you're thinking?
No.
I have to look it up. I would have to look it up. But no, he's like I said, he was San Francisco. I looked up to verify San Francisco, and then Kansas City and Washington. So, womp.
Yes.
Like
Wow.
I said, I have to look it up to see what it is. But like I said, that's why I compare him to. I compare him to Shedeur Sanders. All right, number 3, Jackson Dart, Mississippi, Ole Miss. There. Now, let me be very clear. There is a massive drop off between 2 and 3. It's a drop off between 1 and 2. There's a massive drop off in my eyes between 2 and 3. This is not to say that Jackson Dart will be great. This is to say that Jackson Dart is the 3rd best quarterback because there's not a lot of good quarterbacks. He's got a chance to do something. He's got a chance to be good. Don't get me wrong. I just see a lot of DJ in him, and that scares me.
Yeah.
Doesn't read defense as well. Doesn't throw with the anticipation, but he's got a hell of an arm. He's put up a lot of stats there at Ole Miss. He's got a possibility, but I just don't see it as a huge possibility.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to start, yeah. And then,
yeah. It's hard to be positive about him. I'm sorry. I want to be positive. But Deb looked it up. I feel like she was on here saying
Kyle Orton, I was just looking
Kyle
up.
Orton. Yep, I thought so. I told you that was Kyle Orton. As soon as you said Jesus,
why.
I was like, probably Kyle Orton. He kind of had that like a religious beard, like he should be on the cover of a Bible.
Touche.
But they always do in the Bible. It's always a picture of Jesus or this random sun over the Grand Canyon looking place, even though there's no Grand Canyon anywhere in the Middle East.
Yeah. As he's off in the Grand Canyon. All righty then.
All right. Anyway,
Up next,
before we
number
get
40.
canceled here.
Yeah.
Next up,
Quinn Ewers.
Texas.
Yeah, he's a Longhorn over here. He has potential to be better than what he is in this draft, but he's so inconsistent. Like he just drops down. Like I could see him going lower than 4. If he was more consistent, he would definitely be higher. But just as Drew said, if the king had testicles, he would be the king or something.
If the queen had balls, she'd be the king.
Well, wow, there's the king. We just went through this. The queen's gone. Let's not bring it up. Anyway,
if the king had a peach, he'd be the queen.
He'd be saved by Mario.
Anyway, that's peaches. That's different.
Yeah.
Anyway, Quinn Ewers. Yeah, I mean, I honestly think something was wrong with him this year. I really do. I think that Quinn Ewers was hurt this year much more than he let on. I do think he is a project guy. I think, if you sign him, if you draft him, you better plan on sitting him for at least a year, letting him work with somebody to go work on some of the issues he has, build the confidence up as well, because I do think some of that lost him in Texas, but he's got potential, guys. He's not a nothing. He's just not a guy that you would go, ooh, this is the guy to replace the so-and-so and be the next starter. No, he's a guy you draft to be a backup and see if he might develop into a starter. That's what he is. And it's sad we're on our 5th quarterback, a 4th quarterback, I should say, and we're already in that kind of category. That just shows you how bad the year is. 4th quarterback, think about last year, was like Penix or Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy. What a difference a year makes. No, but I'm saying like those 3, depending on who you are and how we rate them. Yeah, Penix is number 4, but I'm saying that's a little crazy. It's a big difference in a year. So, number 5. This is the guy that I am a big fan of personally. Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, who I really think, I've said it again, I'll say it again over and over again until someone believes me. I think this is a guy that you give the right system to. It's got to be the right system. And you give him the right protection because of the height issues he has. And I think he could be a low to mid-end starter of this league, which, again, is not a glowing endorsement. But in this draft class, that's a good endorsement. That's where I feel like he is. He's experienced, he's efficient, and he's worked with a lot of coaches here over the years. He's not the guy that's been in college forever. 3 schools. So, yeah, like I said, Dylan Gabriel, I think, underrated prospect in this draft.
Yeah, and then we have Will Howard up next. That's ranked a little bit lower.
Ohio,
Mr. Hey. Buckeye. He's a big old guy himself. That's pretty much. He's like an old school football player, just big and
Yep.
tough.
Hang in tough. We're rough. Rough. You
Yeah,
know that
he's.
song, guys. You're way too old.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't even know true.
New Kids on the Block, that was.
Oh, that was like right there with the cusp
Yeah.
of like first I listened to music. Oh yes, I know.
Oh,
Oh,
hanging tough.
rocky back.
uh,
But yes, Howard is the old school big tough guy. He's pretty consistent with his accuracy, but he's not going to throw you the deep ball.
well,
That's what it comes down to. And then he's also kind of when you go down deep, his arm strength's once not that there, but it's also he tends to lock on a target, right?
well, I think my biggest issue for him is more than anything is the fact that I don't know if what I saw at Ohio State is legit or if what I saw in Kansas State's legit. Because this Kansas State Will Howard, I have no interest even in whatsoever. The Ohio State version of Will Howard, I liked. How much of that was Ohio State and what they put around him, and how much of that was him? I
Well,
don't
how much was
know.
that thing proven with the coaching? So
Well, that's what I'm saying. We don't know, but that I'll give that to him at that point. But I'm saying we have no way of knowing that. So if you're telling me I
yeah,
can get this guy in a fourth round kind of spot and pick him up, and worst case scenario is a cheap backup for a couple of years, it's not a bad pick.
no,
You know,
not at all.
kind of the
Especially
Joe Milton of the draft.
like,
But that's like I said, that's where I have him at. I think a guy you bring him in to be your backup, and you see if you can develop him further. And if you can't, you can't. No harm, no foul, because he's a fourth round pick. But if you can, great. You just got a really cheap quarterback.
pretty much, yeah.
So next up, we got Kyle McCord out of Syracuse.
McCord,
And listen, we talked about him. I like his game. I don't like some of the stuff he does overall. I think he needs to be better at reading defenses. I kind of put him right there with Will Howard, to be honest. The two of the guys I have trouble deciding who I would go with, which spot there, to be honest. That was kind of a toss up between the two. So you end up getting, 6 Will Howard, 7 Kyle McCord, but that could go either way because they're both basically the same type of thing. A player that's played, a couple of years now, went to 2 different schools, really succeeded at the second school, been in college for, a little while now, and you don't know if what you saw at, with McCord at Ohio State was legit or what you saw in Syracuse was legit. Let's be honest, Syracuse, you're going down a level in competition. That probably didn't hurt him. You throw in the fact that also he's a little, bit of a proponent of interceptions. A decent amount of interceptions there. 12 interceptions this past year at Syracuse, and that kind of scares me a little there too. But again, like Will Howard, you pick him up, you try to develop him. Worst case scenario, you get a cheap backup. Worst
yeah,
things can happen.
and that's probably where he's going to land himself in this NFL is someone's backup.
That's where I put him at.
Yeah.
Go for number 8, Rob.
Number 8, Jalen Monroe.
No,
Monroe.
not Monroe. He was inside the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
James Monroe.
Monroe.
Jalen Milroe.
Yeah. Sorry, I was in Monroe earlier today.
Alabama.
Anyway,
this is probably the biggest shocker of this list of people, actually, I think, too, because a lot of people have him much higher than we do.
I do, but there's also some things you got to take away. Like, yes, he's got balls. He steps up in the pocket.
So he is the king.
Apparently. And he's not afraid to take a hit.
No.
And he's trying to throw the ball. And he's got decent mechanics as he's trying to throw the ball. But the thing is, he's also hurrying up in that pocket. He's making quick decisions, and they're not always the best. Like, let's talk about how he threw 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in 2024 in the SEC play. Like, it just...
Yeah, I just feel like his throwing is his worst characteristic. And I have an issue. That's like, could you imagine saying, this guy could be a great running back if only he can run the ball?
Exactly.
Like, you're a quarterback. You can't throw the ball. That's an issue.
Well, especially like last year, right? So he finished his career with 33 rushing touchdowns, which he had 20 last year.
Yeah.
So what was his strength last year?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, we talked about it last year. We're talking about how Jermaine Burton, who we had, we liked a lot coming out of school, didn't necessarily do the best. That's for sure. But we looked at him and what he did in Alabama. We're watching film and we're like, this quarterback sucks. Like, he's not being put in a position to succeed. Well, guess what, guys? This is it. This is the quarterback that made him look bad. Now Burton's got his own issues now with the NFL and everything. Well, that's the story for the day there.
Yeah.
But Jalen Milroe has trouble throwing the ball. You know what? I would love to see him go in the perfect world. And this is going to sound harsh because I feel like people always get on people. Oh, a running quarterback can succeed. Blah blah blah. All this. No. Running quarterback can succeed, though. I will still question how many of them win Super Bowls. But a running quarterback still needs to be able to throw. I would love to see him go to Baltimore and be their new backup. Let him sit for a couple of years behind, Lamar Jackson. Let him watch what he does. Learn from him. Because let's be honest, that is a dream scenario for him. He needs to develop. He's not a kid you can throw out there right now. Even in the bowl game this past year, his receivers at Alabama were giving him looks like WTF when he was throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not there. Now, you can also sit there and say, okay, well, he's not there 4 years into college. Will he ever get there? It's a valid question. I mean, I can definitely see where somebody would ask that question. And what kind of room for growth is there really? But he's also 22 years old, guys. He's not 26, 25.
Yeah.
He's got some years in him that he can sit behind somebody, learn to play the game the more NFL style way, and see what you got out of him. But if you draft him in the second round, guys, you're dooming yourself in my eyes. You're putting him into a scenario you're going to force him to play before he's ready. Let him sit for like a year or two before he even touches the field. He should be a third string quarterback this year for that reason. And it's not because I'm trying to hate on him. I'm trying to give him a chance to succeed.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, number 9.
9.
This is where we're getting to the bottom of the barrel here, guys. It's kind of bad. Curtis Rourke, the Canadian himself. We had his brother, obviously, Nathan Rourke, in with us last year for a little bit. Curtis Rourke had a really good, season there for Indiana after going through Ohio. We know he's got the injury. He may not play at all next year. So, you got to see what's going to happen there. He's got a torn ACL. So you really want to let him sit probably for a year. But this is a guy that if you want to be patient and you want to let him sit for a year and see what he's got, what the hell? It's not hurting anything. He's got some abilities, that's for sure. Just to what degree? I mean, I think his ceiling is probably backup quarterback in this league. And I think his floor is probably gets injured, gets healthy, isn't as good, and is out of the league forever. So I wouldn't go to anything more than like a 6th-round pick on this kid. Which is kind of scary for quarterback number 9.
Yeah.
That's how bad this class is, guys.
But we talked about it before. This is a bad draft class for QBs.
Yeah. You get them early, or you don't get them. But yeah, Curtis Rourke, that's where we got him at.
Oh, yeah. And up next is
number 10.
10 some.
10 some. Whoa, what kind of video is that?
What would you like to
know? Oh, I know.
Whoa.
Whoa, hello.
Tyler Shuck. We literally just talked about Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we don't have to go too much into that.
We don't really have to review what we just spoke
about. Old, too injury prone. And if you want to take a flyer on a guy, the 6th, 7th round, why not? But you can't go with any expectations.
Yeah.
Where is that? I know I'll get some hate for that because people like him. Some people that really like them, some self-shock, but it's where I'm at.
Listen, that's fine. You can like him.
Yeah.
You can like him in the 6th round.
Yeah, you can. You can. So
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please,